There, my name is Jenna, and today I'm going to be talking about the June 2025 Google Core Update. Today is July 10th, and so we're about halfway through this Core Update. It was announced as a 3-week rollout period, and what's interesting about that is that typically with these Core Updates, which Google does about twice a year, typically they're a little shorter. They're maybe 2 weeks at most, and this one was announced as a 3-week rollout. And what's interesting about that is that we assume, based on the length of it, that this is going to be a more significant update than what we normally see out of these updates. So the first thing I want you to hear is if you've seen a lot of volatility in your SERP rankings in the past few days, if your website traffic has gone up and down, maybe you've lost positions where you're normally ranked, my first note is don't panic. And I'm going to show you why. There's something called the Google Volatility Rank Tracker, and let me show you where we're at today. So we are looking at today. And what you'll notice here is this is a 10, and that is a 10 out of 10. And I'll scroll down and show you, here we are today. Here's where this core update started on June 30th. And you'll see there was a lot of volatility. Here we're seeing 5s, we're seeing 3s. So there was a lot going on. And then it started to really climb this week, and we're at the absolute peak today. So you'll see right here this week, the volatility has gone up about 3.2 throughout the week. And today it's at 16%. Yesterday it was at like an 8. So this is a really volatile period. And so the takeaway that I want you to have from that is don't panic. Don't make major adjustments to your website just yet. I'd like you to wait until we get through the full 3-week period and see where everything kind of lands before you start changing things. Because something you change today because of what you've seen over the last couple of days may change again before this rollout is complete. So my best advice right now is kind of hold the fort and let's see where it really lands. But there are a good number of things we know about this update and also kind of the direction Google is moving in that I can tell you about so that you're ready to take advantage of these strategic adjustments when we're kind of through this period, which should be about another, maybe 10 days or so. So again, don't panic yet. This is not meant to be a penalty on your website. It's not meant to tank your website. What it's meant to do is ensure content quality. At the end of the day, Google is a search engine, and it exists to help people find the information they're looking for. So your website, Google wants it to be helpful. They want people to be able to find the information that they're looking for. So what they're doing with these updates is removing old and outdated content. They are reducing reliance on just AI generated material. Thin pages that have, just like a paragraph on them. Those are going to fall in the rankings. So just know that this is meant to better the user experience for Google users. And there are ways that you can take advantage of it with your content and your website to improve your rankings as long as you align with their priorities. Why this matters is that Google has something they call EEAT, and that stands for experience, expertise, authoritativeness, and trust. And that EEAT has been in place about 2 years now. I think it was 2022, 2023 when they kind of rolled out that kind of messaging. And what that means is that those 4 things are what they're looking for in your content, in your website. That's how they prioritize who they rank, how far up your page gets, what kind of traffic you get. It's based on those 4 core things. So again, that's experience, expertise, authoritativeness, and trust. Your content, your website, it all needs to align with that. So that's when we talk about the type of content we're trying to produce and what's going to rank, keep that in mind moving forward. One thing to know is regardless of how well you're taking advantage of EAT content, how great your website is, we are industry-wide seeing a decrease in click-through rate, and that is due to AI snippets. Have Googled something recently, and we're getting that a little blurb at the top that tells us maybe the answer to the question that we're asking, and a lot of people are reading that and then they're not going anywhere else. They're not clicking through to the source. They got the answer that they needed, which is what Google wants, but it's reducing the click through to websites or to your landing page So just know that regardless, you are going to see lower click-through rates, particularly depending on the industry. News sites, publishers, things like that are seeing huge declines. But even, your business websites are seeing that impact on your click-through rate. So just know that that's what's happening. But there are ways to get yourself in those AI overviews. And take advantage of what we're calling zero-click SEO. And that means that, somebody's looking at the snippet, they're getting the answer they need, and that's as far as they're going. So just know, as you're creating content, it's not about keyword stuffing anymore. It was never about keyword stuffing, but keywords are important. But what's more important is that your content is authentic, it's helpful to your user, and that it's building trust as much as possible. And I'm obviously not at all against using AI to help create your content, but what's important is that you're building that rapport with your audience. So one thing I always recommend anytime you're creating content, whether you're using AI or not, lead with personal examples. Give an opinion. That's one thing, that AI doesn't necessarily have, is a personal opinion on something. So if you've experienced it, or if you've got a personal story related to something, include that in your content, because that's going to help with that brand building, trust, and kind of reeling your audience in with that real human element. So that's something that you can do to take advantage of that content and push that EAT that they're looking for there. Right now, what I want you to do is track your rankings, start paying attention to what pages maybe are dropping. But again, don't change anything yet. But once we're through this period, you are going to want to look at your rankings and see what's fallen and figure out why, and then adjust. A couple of pages on your website that are being pinged by Google as maybe too thin of content, not enough content, or poorly written content, or not engaging content, those can drag down your entire site ranking. So I do want you to be tracking and pay attention to those and adjust to them. Even if your homepage ranks really well, I still want you to take care of those other pages so that it doesn't slowly bring your whole site down. If you need a way to track those rankings, Google Search Console and Google Analytics are both free tools, and they're great, and it will get you 90% of the information that you need. There are wonderful paid tools out there. I use SEMrush. Bright Local is great if you have a local, like, brick and mortar business. But you don't need an expensive paid SEO manager. You need Google Search Console, and Google Analytics will do the brunt of the job for you. So make sure those are connected to your site. You may need somebody to help you get it set up, get the properties tracking right on your site, but those are extremely important. And also, Google likes Google, right? So the more of those Google products that you install on your site, the better it's going to perform on Google. Same thing, with Google Ads. Google likes it when you feed the Google monster. Google Ads help boost your SEO a lot because you're paying them, essentially. Just things to keep in mind there. When you identify your impacted pages, figure out why they're being ranked poorly. It's very likely there's not enough content on the page. I never want you to focus on word count. This isn't college. Around 2,000 words or so on a page that's meant to have content on it. And we're not talking about, a contact page or something simple like that, or a form. But for, blog posts or about pages or service pages, aim for around 2,000 words or more. We're not keyword stuffing. We're not just saying things for the sake of saying it. I want that to be good quality content. But that's going to help improve those page rankings, is that quality and quantity of words on the page. Avoid anything too generic. If it's already been said 500 different ways, you don't need to say it again just to rank your site. Say it differently. Find your own unique angle. Put a personal spin on it. That's going to be helpful. Add examples, add data, and link high quality websites. So, obviously I don't want you to necessarily link a competitor website, but let's say you're a nutritionist and you're talking about something FDA is regulating. Link to that FDA article or press release or whatever it might be. Include data, include statistics. Google likes that kind of stuff. It shows authoritativeness, shows that you have a right to be talking about what you're talking about and that people are going to care about it. And then the biggest thing, and this is what I'm preaching in terms of SEO, AEO, which is answer engine optimization, zero-click search. The way that we are asking questions is really changing on the internet, essentially. And that's due to things like Siri, Alexa. We're getting very conversational with these tools. And so, whereas you used to maybe go to Google and you type in like horse riding near me, what people are doing now is, hey, Alexa, where can I, go ride a horse this weekend? Or going to Google and doing the same thing. Where can I ride a horse near me? So the way that we're asking questions is becoming more conversational and like we would ask a human. And so when you're answering questions, which is what you need to be doing in your content, think about the way someone would naturally ask the question and then answer it back naturally. That's what they're looking for there. A couple of things. First of all, FAQs on your website are really powerful. Those are ranking very well on Google, and they're also ranking or pulling to those AI snippets. Because again, people are asking a natural question. So if you're responding to a natural question with an FAQ, it's more likely to show up in that AI snippet. There is something called FAQ schema. It's something you can implement on your page, and it's a little techie. It involves some JSON code. That is really what is driving those AI overviews. Every time I put a client's FAQ page in schema, it is immediately bumping them up in the ranking, and for the most part, landing them in those AI snippets. And not everybody's taking advantage of it yet. This is all pretty new. So it's a great opportunity to get ahead of the game and start kind of future-proofing your SEO strategy. So add your FAQs, ask the question naturally, answer the question naturally. If you can get it in schema, that's going to be super helpful. But that's how, when you structure your content that way, that's how it's getting to those overviews. The other thing is add author bios. So this used to be really common. Like you used to see, an article somewhere and at the bottom it was like, Susan is an author and a writer and spends time with her dogs in Nantucket. We kind of got away from that for a long time, but that is kind of making a reappearance because Google's prioritizing that information because it shows that a human has helped produce that content. They may have used AI to help, totally fine. It shows that level of human connection. Add your author bio, add your website, add your credentials. If you've got, a certification, an advanced degree, put that in there. That all shows authority, and that is what they're looking for. So add those back in, start using that again. It's something that kind of slipped off everybody's radar, but it's becoming really useful again. So those are the key takeaways that I want you to kind of remember. FAQ, answering questions, super important. Structuring your content, if you can, in schema, super important. Making your content have first person data or impressions or opinions, all really helpful there. Google is not trying to hurt your site. They are trying to serve their users better. So if you align with what they're trying to do, it's going to serve your website and your rankings better. So I am always happy to answer questions. I'm super nerdy about AEO and answer snippets and things like that. So I'm always happy to help and advise. And if you need help implementing structured schema or anything like that, I am absolutely willing to help with that. And the goal is just to, increase your online visibility. And to do that, we kind of have to play the game the way that Google wants us to play the game. And that's really what this core update is about.